The global order that emerged after World War II was designed by Western powers led by the United States. Institutions like the United Nations, International Monetary Fund, World Bank, and later the North Atlantic Treaty Organization were built to reflect and enforce this vision. The world remained largely unipolar, with the United States dominating militarily, economically, and ideologically. But that order is changing. At the center of this transformation are two nations, China and Russia. One is a rising economic powerhouse with global ambitions, the other a resurgent military power with deep historical grievances. Together they are challenging the Western-led liberal international order, where power is distributed across several influential states, not concentrated in one. This isn't just about diplomacy or defense. It's about reshaping norms, alliances, currencies, trade routes, and even technology infrastructure. China's strategic blueprint. China's rise is often described as peaceful, but its ambition is clear. The Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, launched in 2013, connects over 140 countries through infrastructure, investments, ports, railways, and energy projects. The initiative is more than an economic plan, it's a geopolitical strategy to reshape trade routes and global supply chains, giving China strategic leverage over vast regions. China has expanded its influence in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia through investments, loans, and technology. Its presence in international institutions like the UN, World Health Organization, and World Trade Organization has grown, allowing Beijing to reshape global norms on development, internet governance, and human rights. Meanwhile, China's military posture is expanding. The People's Liberation Army is undergoing rapid modernization with a focus on naval power, cyber capabilities, and space technology. The construction of military bases in the South China Sea and even overseas bases like in Djibouti signals a shift toward the global military footprint. Russia's resurgence. Russia's approach is different. It seeks to undermine Western unity through asymmetric tactics, while reinforcing its position as a great power. The annexation of Crimea in 2014, military operations in Syria, and involvement in conflicts across Africa illustrate Moscow's readiness to use force and hard power. Russia is also skilled in non-military strategies, cyber warfare, energy leverage, disinformation campaigns, and political interference. It uses energy exports to influence Europe and arms sales to maintain alliances across the Middle East, India, and Africa. Moscow's deepening ties with non-Western powers, particularly China, Iran, and BRICS nations, demonstrate its commitment to a world order not dictated by Washington or Brussels. The China-Russia axis. Though historically mistrustful, China and Russia have forged a strategic partnership. Their cooperation is not based on ideology, but on mutual interests countering Western dominance, securing their spheres of influence, and reshaping global institutions. Joint military drills in the Arctic, East China Sea, and Central Asia have grown in complexity. Diplomatically, they support each other in the UN Security Council, vetoing Western-led interventions and resolutions. Economically, bilateral trade hit record highs, with energy pipelines linking Siberia to China and plans to bypass the US dollar in cross-border transactions. This alliance is not formal like NATO. It is a fluid, pragmatic coordination between two powers who seek to change the rules, not play by them. Multipolarity, not just a buzzword. The idea of a multipolar world isn't new. What's new is the concrete moves made by states like China and Russia to construct alternative systems. In finance, there is an accelerating push to de-dollarize. Russia and China have increased bilateral trade in yuan, and rubles. The BRICS nations are exploring a common currency. In security, China has launched the Global Security Initiative, an alternative to Western-led alliances, emphasizing sovereignty and non-intervention. In development, both countries offer financing and infrastructure without the political conditions attached by the IMF or World Bank. For many global South nations, this is attractive. In technology, the split is clear. China leads in 5G, AI surveillance systems, and digital payment platforms. Huawei, TikTok, and the Digital Silk Road are exporting a tech authoritarian model that rivals Silicon Valley's open internet ideal. In space, both nations are investing heavily in satellite networks, lunar exploration, and anti-satellite weapons. The future battlefield may be orbital, the global south, battleground for influence. The real contest is unfolding in the global South Africa, Latin America, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. These regions are not passive observers but active participants. China offers infrastructure without lectures. Russia offers arms and political support without conditions. Both offer an alternative to what many countries see as a paternalistic Western approach. Countries like India, Brazil, South Africa, Indonesia, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia are charting independent paths. They engage with the West, but also with China and Russia. This is the essence of multipolarity, not anti-Westernism, but the freedom to choose. Reshaping institutions. The UN remains dominated by Western influence, but China and Russia are pushing reforms. They demand a rebalancing of power in institutions like the IMF, World Bank, and G20. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, BRICS, and Eurasian Economic Union are rising alternatives. In international law, Russia and China challenge Western interpretations of sovereignty, intervention, and human rights. Beijing insists on non-interference, while Moscow contests Western humanitarian interventions as veiled regime change. They are not dismantling the global order, they are editing it. The West responds. The West is not standing still. NATO is expanding. The US-EU alliance has revived. New security pacts like AUKUS and the Quad are attempts to counterbalance China's influence in the Indo-Pacific. But the West is increasingly seen as reactive, not proactive. While it still holds military and financial dominance, its moral authority is fading, especially in the wake of the Iraq War, Afghanistan withdrawal, and economic double standards during the pandemic. The Ukraine war has accelerated this divide. For the West, it's a battle of democracy versus autocracy. For much of the world, it's just another regional conflict between great powers. The future of global order? We are witnessing the erosion of a rules-based order, but not its collapse. Instead, a fragmented multipolar order is emerging, messy, competitive, and uncertain. China and Russia are central to this shift, not as global dictators, but as architects of parallel systems. Whether this leads to a more balanced world or a more chaotic one depends not just on the actions of China and Russia, but on how the rest of the world, especially middle powers and the global south, choose to navigate this changing landscape. The 21st century won't be owned by one country, one currency, or one ideology. Power will be shared, contested, and negotiated across oceans, across networks, across systems. Welcome to the age of multipolarity.